Hello, I am the movie maestro, and what do you say we continue with reviewing the Godfather series? After all, The Godfather Part 2 is considered just as good as the first, if not better. This is a very special kind of sequel in that it's both a sequel and a prequel both at the same time, and in another situation it's one that many consider to be possibly better than the first, if not at least of equal value. And I can tell you I have very much the same feelings. Basically, the story that continues from the first is about Michael Corleone, once again played by Al Pacino, trying to make a decent life out of his new responsibility, but in the process pushes away almost everyone in his life, including his family, and leaves a huge sense of emptiness towards the end. The prequel story is the story of how Don Vito Corleone got to where he ended up in the first film, and in the flashbacks, Vito is played by Robert De Niro in one of his first film roles. And much like Marlon Brando in the first film, he ended up winning an Academy Award for his effort. In many ways, this is just as fascinating as the first movie is, but for different reasons. The first one mostly touched on family dilemmas and choosing what's the most responsible choice for a life, and whether it ultimately is the one that gives you the most happiness or the one that gives you the most freedom. It's very difficult to go through and to think about. Very thought-provoking material. However, the sequel even more goes into how important that is, but additionally showing how much other people can matter, and if one becomes way too obsessed with personal gain, it can end up isolating them from everyone else. And this is well emphasized by Carmine Coppola's fantastic expansion on Nino Rota's already haunting musical score and the even darker and even more shadowy cinematography. It's quite something how the film ups the ante, yet feels like it's not really so much something that follows from the first film. If anything, this works very well as a standalone picture as well. In all honesty, the only flaws that I can possibly point out with this movie are just the same as the first. Maybe one or two timeline flaws, maybe the pacing's a little too slow in areas, maybe one or two characters need a slightly greater sense of intrigue, but on the whole, it still delivers exactly what it needs to deliver and what it was supposed to deliver, so I can't really fault it for that too much. Really, the only thing that I personally felt could have been better was the actual progression of the story for Michael, which definitely worked, but needed maybe just a little bit more of a drive. With that said, the conclusion is one of the most harrowingly empty conclusions I have seen to a film, and that's saying a lot, because I've seen lots of heavy-duty films. And let's just say that it's kind of hard to sit through if you've bonded with the characters as much as the audience is meant to. On the whole, I can safely say that this movie is a fantastic follow-up to the original, and works just as well as a standalone picture. And even though I personally respect it more than I truly enjoy watching it, same as with the first, I can easily see why this, in addition to the first film, is considered one of the greatest movies of all time, and I definitely am part of that crowd in praising this film for what it is. So, on the worth meter, I can definitely call this worth owning, at least, and this is also a 5 out of 5 movie. Though I respect it more than I would watch this on a regular basis, I can safely say that this is a movie that's worth checking out just to find out if it's the kind that will be viewed as time well spent. Thank you for your time.